Hello and welcome back to a new week. I actually have just gotten ready and I'm about to head out to my afternoon class. This week we were reading the book of Marjorie Kemp, which I've read kind of extracts from for other classes, but never in its entirety. So this should be a very interesting week. And I think it's the only one where we're doing a singular text for this English class. Every other week we've been discussing kind of like multiple shorter works, like different poems, I don't know what you'd call them, like extracts from the Canterbury Tales, that kind of thing. So should be very interesting. And then after that I'll probably go hang out at the college for a little while because I'm going to have dinner at Pembroke with a couple of people from Rhodes. Not from Pembroke, but they're gonna come for Monday roast night there, so that should be good. And then Pembroke book club. So this week already feels a little more exciting than last week when I was kind of laid up by my foot, which seems to be mostly recovered, so that's a positive. Hey guys, so I just got back from Pembroke, had a really nice time. I went to my class, went back to the MCR to read the short stories for Pembroke because I may or may not have left them until the very last minute, and then had dinner with a friend at Pembroke, which is really cool. She's at Green Templeton College, so hopefully I will get to go there and have dinner in their hall, or at least see the grounds. Because that's a college that I haven't been to, and I've heard they have really, really good food. So, definitely on the list. But yeah, then after that, had the Pembroke meeting. We're reading short stories from Ken Liu's The Paper Menagerie. We're doing kind of 2 a week, depending on the length of the stories. And yeah, I'm really enjoying them so far. I've never read any of his work. I've maybe read The Paper Menagerie before, but if I did, it was a really long time ago. And amazing writer and very interesting approach to genre and kind of a blending of like science fiction, fantasy, magical realism, historical fiction. Yeah, it's just a very, very cool collection. So I'm really enjoying that. And a nice change of pace from Sylvia Plath from last term. I enjoyed Sylvia Plath, but yeah, it's definitely a different experience. But yeah, last night I feel like I was up pretty late working, so tonight I'm gonna have more of a chill evening, plus I don't have too much to prep for tomorrow. I'll maybe go over the readings again before class, but I don't have class until 2, which is nice. And last week I had a lot of Monday, Tuesday I had early meetings before my classes, but this week I don't have any meetings, which is nice. So yeah, maybe watch a movie or hopefully read a couple chapters of Divine Rivals, although I don't want to get too deep into it now because the next Crescent City book comes out tomorrow. So first thing, I'm gonna head out and buy it. I didn't pre-order it, so I'm very hopeful that Waterstones will actually have some in stock because I've been burned before. I would go into Indigo the last couple years whenever a pretty big book or an installment in a series that was pretty big would get released and they wouldn't have it out on the shelves yet. So I'm hoping Oxford Waterstones is not like that. That it will be my plan for the next couple of days because I don't imagine I will have the self-control to spread out my reading time of that one. But yeah, chill night end tonight. Good morning, everybody. So like I said last night, today is the release day of House in Flame and Shadow. And Waterstones opened at 9. It's a little after 9 now. But I'm just gonna do some work here before I run out and pick it up. I was like, I don't need to be pounding down the door or anything because I've got a few things that I want to finish here anyway before I, get sucked up reading it. So I'm gonna do a little bit of work and then go to Waterstones. guys, so I just got back from my class. Beforehand, I did purchase and was able to start House of Flame and Shadow. I'm really enjoying it at the beginning because I've remained somewhat skeptical about the crossover, but you know, I think I'm on page, probably not even 40, 38. And so far, I think she's handling it well. But yeah, I got this at Waterstones, and the bookstores here are so pretentious because I feel like it's a fair assumption to say that this is probably one of Waterstone's highest selling titles of the year. I know it's only January 30th, but like, it's gonna be one of their biggest releases. No signs in the window for it. Blackwell's had a whole display in their window. Go in, nowhere to be found on the main floor. So I went upstairs because that's where their fantasy section is, and there was one tiny table that had like a little sign, literally probably the same size as the book, that said, I think it said House of Flame and Shadow, I'm not sure. But it only had copies of House of Earth and Blood. So then I was a little worried that they'd sold out or something or just didn't have stock yet. But I went downstairs because I was like, maybe I missed their display table. Surely they'll have one. They did not, but I did see 3 copies stacked by the register. Again, I think they had a sign and that was their display. Not a big one, like really not hyping up this release. Which again, I thought was interesting because like, yeah, surely it would be one of their big, maybe not this branch in particular, but like, don't worry people, no one at Oxford is going to think, you know, you don't have to like hype up Oxford's academic reputation, like we can put Sarah J Maas on the main floor, it's okay. But yeah, my book, the end pages are so pretty. I think this is specific to the Waterstones special edition. I'm not sure, I haven't seen what the other like Barnes & Noble and Indigo ones did, but they're so pretty. My book is slightly messed up, like literally page 1. I've got page 1, and then I've got a couple blank pages, and then page 2. And then I have, where is it? Then I have a couple pages with like a blue line on it, on the edge. And then, here, I'll find it because this was the big one. This one, the text is cut off on this page and then it continues on this little flap, so obviously something just happened like when the paper was cut. But like the fact that this is pointy, I really want to know like how they cut and bind the books and everything. But yeah, I don't care because it hasn't like actually cut out any of the text yet, so it doesn't bother me that they're like, that it's not super pristine because like the rest of it is, so it's fine. And actually, my copy of Crescent City is messed up too. They didn't cut the edges of the paper correct, so there's like chunks of it where the pages are longer than the other ones. It was the only one left at the bookstore when I bought it though, so I just got it because again, I don't really care. These aren't special editions, like they don't cost any more than the original, so like it doesn't really matter as long as the rest of the book is there. But yes, I'm enjoying this. I'm curious about the POV chapters because House of Earth and Blood had a lot, and I didn't know if all of them like were totally, I feel like 1 or 2 could have been cut. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care about Ethan. His chapters could go, and he also has chapters in here, and so far I'm like, okay, it's a tie to what's going on in Crescent City in Midgard, apart from like, spoiler, the people being tortured, but like, yes. So I'm curious because there's going to be even more in this one. So I'm enjoying this so far. But yeah, I'm going to chill out here, probably read some more. And then one of the girls that I'm friends with is from Australia, and it was Australia Day, I think on either Friday or Saturday. But she's doing a little celebration today. She's got some Aussie snacks and she's gonna do a sausage sizzle. So that's my plans for the evening. Good morning, everybody. So I did stay up way too late last night reading House of Flame and Shadow. I actually just posted a reading update on TikTok, so like hopefully all of my reviews, including the final review, will be up on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video is up. Because yeah, I'm just under halfway through now, and I'm so stressed. I swear these books take at least a year off of my life every time because I'm just so worried for Hunt, but It's okay. I left him in a good spot last night. I couldn't go to bed until he was like, he and Rune were like sort of okay, so that's where we're at. I've had a bit of a weird morning though, probably because I was up so late last night. Yeah, I've been kind of like puttering around here. Yeah, normally I'm gone when the scout comes to like clean our room, which I'm still so grateful for. It's so nice. But this time I was here when she came in, so I like quickly got changed and then went down to the common room for a bit just to like be out of her way. So yeah, but now I'm dressed, as you can see, and I got this for Christmas. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to head out now, go to a library, and get some work done before I have like the little text encoding, sort of seminar thing at the Weston Library. So that's what I'm up to. So I just got back from the digital editions course that I'm doing. I went to the Pembroke Library and I was trying to get some work done, but I was just in like a very antsy mood, so it was hard to focus. But I did a little bit of work there, and then I went to the Weston for the course, and actually a couple of the girls on my like master's course are also doing this like optional thing about digitizing text. And one of them is also reading House of Flame and Shadow, so we were talking about it, and we're basically at the same point in the book. So we were talking about it, and we were like, you know, maybe today just has to be a write-off so that we can finish the book, and then we won't be subconsciously thinking about it for the rest of the week as we're trying to get practical stuff done. So I think that might be what I'm doing for the rest of the night. I'm supposed to go to the gym later with the girls from Pembroke, so that might have to be my little reading break, but other than that, it's back to Crescent City. So I've basically just been reading since I got back. I'm on like chapter maybe 50 now? There's a lot going on. People are dying, but then not actually dying, and then there's maybe whispers of necromancy, but none has actually been performed. So I started doing like a reading vlog, and it is for TikTok, and it is unhinged, but it's fun. But yeah, I'm about to head to the gym. I think we're doing arms today. I nearly died on the tricep machine last time, so back at it again. Good morning, everybody. So I went to the gym last night. It was arm and secret leg day. And then I got back and I continued reading House of Flame and Shadow. And I was just going to pull an ill-advised all-nighter, but at 2:30 I was feeling tired, and I got to a chapter that was actually a good ending place. I think it was like 67 or 68. And I said, I will take this opportunity to sleep. So I only have about 200 pages left, so I think after the Bodleian trip this morning, I'm just gonna come back and finish the bad boy because I need to be done and know what happens. But yeah, and then I can maybe get on with my life. We'll see. But yeah, I am really enjoying the book so far. It's definitely, it reminds me of Akawar in that, like, I wouldn't say the second book was like Mist and Fury, because like Mist and Fury was definitely like a character book for Feyre, but, and then Akawar was more of like, more plot driven, like, because they were at war. And that's kind of this book. Like, a lot of the characters are kind of settled into their relationship. Well, Bryce and Hunt are anyway. and they're kind of the main pair, the main two. So yeah, it's more about driving the plot forward and the rebellion and everything. But yeah, I'm really liking it. So I'm back from my talk, which was really interesting. It was 3 women gave presentations. It was basically about you know, preserving and maintaining online archives and yeah, sustainability and everything, and especially interesting given what happened with the British Library and everything, so like a very timely discussion. So that was quite cool. Came back, had some lunch, but like, you know what we're doing now. So I finished House of Flame and Shadow yesterday, hung out, then went to the gym, and now I'm going to the gym again this morning. Who am I? I'm gonna take a beat before I review House of Flame and Shadow because I did really enjoy it, but I don't know. I think it was, I quite enjoyed the ending, and I think it was like a good book, but I don't know, it's like, it felt different than the other 2 Crescent City books, and different from a lot of Sarah J. Maas's other books, so I don't know, I need to like collect my thoughts a little bit. Morning everybody. So last night I went out with some girls from Pembroke to, first we stopped at the Exeter bar because one girl, her course mates were doing a thing there, and they were doing karaoke, but they have like had a live band playing the songs, which was very cool. But we didn't linger too long before we went to Maudlin because they do Liquid Lounge every Friday, and we wanted to check it out. Turned out it's basically just like our bar night, except in a slightly bigger room. So, but it was still really fun. But yeah, we weren't totally sure what to expect from it. If it was going to be like a cocktail party kind of vibe, or if it would be like more of a party. Like I'd expected there to be like a bigger dance floor and everything, because I've heard that Balliol Bobs are kind of like that, like they'll have 3 DJs or something. So I thought that Maudlin's Liquid Lounge would be like that, but it wasn't. It was very similar to our bar nights. But yeah, it was still fun. Probably worth going to again. I don't know, but yeah, had a late night because we came back and watched a movie. So I've been sleeping this morning, but I think I'm just gonna do some work here because all of the walking did, I think, make my foot flare up again, so give it some more rest, but I will be having a doctor check it out next week, so that will be good. Yeah, so gonna hang out here today, and then later, one of the girls at Pembroke is having a bit of a birthday party thing today at Gab's, so that will be fun. Good morning, guys. It's Sunday today. Last night was really fun. It was one of the girls' birthdays, and she like made a dinner for everybody, which was very nice. So she made like a sweet potato curry and then saltfish. Her name started with S, so all the food was S themed. I never had saltfish before, so that was fun. It was very good. And then a couple of us went out to the pub and had a quick drink. I think we went to Turf. So yeah, it was fun. Had a nice little walk. But yeah, this morning I've just been doing a little bit of work here, but now I'm gonna go out to the library because I feel like I just have a bunch of like little things that aren't super hard but like take time to just get done that I need to just like pound out. So I'm gonna go and try to get a bunch of stuff done today. But yeah, it shouldn't be too exciting. I don't really want to go to the Pembroke Library, but I do have a book to return there, so I'm probably just gonna go there. So I'm just back from the library. On the way back, I took the route through the mall because I had something to pick up, which I'll show you in a second. But also some of my friends had just been at Uniqlo the other day, and got some shirts, and they said that they were having a bunch of sales, so I went and walked through there. Didn't really, I mean, I saw lots of nice stuff because I really like Uniqlo for like basics and everything, and actually they had some really nice looking trousers, which might be worth checking out. But yeah, didn't get anything, and then I went to Next to pick up this. So I ordered this online because I wanted just like a fuzzier, bigger blanket to like put on the end of my bed and to use when I'm like sitting at my desk, or when lately we've been doing a lot of movies downstairs in the common room. So this has a little Highland cow all over it. The item tag said his name's Hamish, so there you go. And then this side's like fluffier that you lie against. So that's really cute. I'll have it thrown at the bottom of my thing. It seems to shed less than my stupid H&M blanket, which I'm going to keep using it. I'll put it on my window bench. One of the other girls did that and has another throw on the end of her bed. I'm gonna have to like clean it off though, because it kind of turns into where I just like throw stuff. So I actually think having a blanket there will make it like cozier and will hopefully prevent me from doing that. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this. So I'm actually just gonna get back to work now. It's not gonna be a super exciting Sunday, kind of just like a chill catch-up day, but so this coming week, I think I'm going to post, hopefully either on like Tuesday or Wednesday maybe, full reviews of House of Flame and Shadow on both my Instagram and my TikTok. So, you know, if you're interested, go check me out on there. But I thought that since this video has basically been a reading vlog of this, that I should just give my full, like, final, conclusive-ish review. So I actually felt like this was better constructed than the first two Crescent City books. However, I do think this is my least favorite in the series so far. I mean better constructed in that I feel like the delivery of the plot was cleaner, because even though this is the third book in a series that is comprised of very massive books, there's still a lot of world building to be done in this because, and this is obviously going to be major spoilers for this book and the Crescent City series in general, Crescent City 2 ended with Bryce going to Prythian, going to another world, and when she's there, she learns a lot more about the history of Midgard and of Prythian and of the Asteri. So there's a lot going on. And the Crescent City books, I love them, but they can be a hot mess. They're really confusing. I appreciated in this one that, you know, Bryce isn't keeping major secrets, that's not like a core plot line that someone is keeping a secret from someone else. We do still have Bryce kind of keeping secrets from people, and something that I didn't like about this was that Bryce was just this like super genius. She literally never made a single mistake, and I don't know, it's just boring, like, to have a character that's completely perfect, can do no wrong, and like I found her a little annoying at times in this because a major point in her and Hunt's relationship, because there really isn't that much like relationship or character development in this one, in my opinion, but kind of the one thing that we do get is that Hunt is occasionally a little bit hesitant to keep going against the Asteri because he doesn't want to lose Bryce or Rune or Baxian or any of these other people that he's come to care about, and he carries a lot of guilt for it. He's tried to rebel before and it went horribly, and he feels a lot of responsibility. He feels like he's led everyone into it, and Bryce gets very irritated with him that he's not all in and that he's maybe being a little more cautious, and I get where she's coming from, that she's like, this is wrong, we need to do something about it. Fair enough, wonderful. However, maybe cut him some, or just talk to him maybe, instead of like jumping down his throat about it. I don't know. I thought that that was weird, and it didn't really fit her as a character. I don't know. It wasn't my favorite thing to use as a point of contention between them. However, it wasn't super drawn out. I think that she, you know, they talked about it and she came to like understand his point of view and they reconciled and it was all good. But in terms of the crossover, I think it was completely unnecessary. I assume it's going to be a bigger deal in later books, but like it should have been a big deal in this one, and it really wasn't. We do spend a lot of time in Prythian with Bryce at the beginning, but like it didn't need to happen. And really all we get is we get a little bit of Rhys and Amren, but mostly it's Nesta and Asriel. I assume because they're characters that are going to have like more that are going to be more centered in later ACOTAR books. Maybe not Nesta, but probably Nesta over Feyre, honestly, in the later ones. That's what it seems like anyway. But I think it was unnecessary. I was quite nervous for the crossover because as I enjoyed Silver Flames in some way, but I also hated it. And I feel like it did a lot of damage to the character building that had been done throughout the original ACOTAR trilogy. So I was nervous to have more of it because I was like, is this going to ruin it even further? Is it going to ruin Crescent City for me? And I don't think that it did, but I just don't think that it added to the plot of this. Like there was a way that this could have been done without going to Prythian and getting the other people involved. But that said, it didn't like completely mess it up. I don't know. It was fine, but like it just didn't feel necessary. It felt like it was such a cliffhanger at the end of Sky and Breath, and then not that much payoff in this. And I'd also expected that we were going to get some of the ACOTAR's people's POV, but we didn't. Same amount of POVs as in the previous book, which again makes sense because the crossover really did not matter in this. But yeah, overall, I think that like it was done well in that it didn't feel super gimmicky. However, I just don't think that it was totally necessary. Maybe it will become a bigger deal later on in this series and in ACOTAR, I presume, because there's stuff with like the High King and everything. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that I needed it for this. Something that I did love was Lydia in this book. I think that she was a real standout, and I actually think that more could have been done with her, because I would say that this book, compared to the other two Crescent City books, is much more plot heavy. I think Crescent City in general is more plot driven than like the ACOTAR series, but I think the previous two books had a really good balance between that kind of like emotional investment, like strong sort of character study, character influence that Sarah J. Maas does in like A Court of Mist and Fury and in Silver Flames, with the more intricate plot of the Crescent City books. I think that there's a really good balance between the first and the second. Like you get so invested in the characters. Like I still get choked up when I think about Hunt watching like the slideshow photos of him and Bryce just like getting happier and happier together when he's locked away in the dungeon. But yeah, and I just feel like this one, you kind of lost that emotional connection to the characters. Like you just weren't as invested in them. It was like all of the character development hadn't done in the previous book, so like we didn't need it. We kind of knew like the archetypes, but I don't think that that was necessarily super effective because I just felt kind of distanced from all the characters. I cared about them because I already cared about them from previous books, but this didn't really do anything to make me care about them more, if you know what I mean, and to become so invested in them. Especially because this book is like non-stop action. There's never a break. There's never like a quiet moment really between characters. And I think that's kind of why, like there was never a moment, there was very few moments for them to just like sit and talk. I do think Lydia and Rune maybe got the most of that, but honestly I would have liked to see more. And I'm very curious to hear what people are going to think about Lydia's story, because I can see a lot of people kind of feeling the same way about her having children as they do about Feyre getting pregnant in Silver Flames, which like I didn't have an issue with, but some people didn't enjoy that plot line, and I think some people might be irritated that it's, you know, the idea that she got pregnant and that's what completely changed her perspective and why she joined the rebellion. But I actually find the portrayal of motherhood in Crescent City really interesting, and that motherhood is very central to all of the characters' identities, but it's not like a kind of core focus of the series, but it's always kind of there in the background. So I think it's actually quite fitting for the series that it is becoming a mother that changed Lydia so drastically. And so I don't necessarily think that like we didn't get enough of that in this book, but I would have liked to see even more, and maybe we will farther in the series. But yeah. Something else that I think people might make fun of a little bit, because they already do, is like Rhys always talking about people having a choice and blah blah blah. And he says at the beginning of this book that he could look through Bryce's mind, but he won't unless he has like her express permission. And yeah, he says stuff like that so often that it almost becomes a parody. But in this case, I actually think it makes a lot of sense for his character, because like he spent 50 plus years having, are they called Damati powers? Yeah, his like mind reading, mind infiltration powers used by Amarantha. Like he was forced to invade and like violate the mind of anyone that Amarantha wanted, and having to do it for his own survival and the protection of his people. So now that he's free, I can totally see him becoming drawing this line and going to kind of the extreme of like, I am not going to use this power, I'm not going to invade someone's mind unless they're fully aware and have given permission, because it's a very intimate thing that was taken away from him and that he was forced to take away from other people. So I actually think it really makes sense that he would have that kind of perspective, especially like because we know as readers, and it seems like they kind of know, Bryce isn't really a threat to them. They're just like not totally sure what she's doing there, and she's obviously like thinking about her world and not theirs. I did enjoy the ending of this because, like I said, Bryce was just kind of like super genius boss chick in this, which was fine, but I do wish, and I think we were kind of starting to get that in the second book as well, but less so than this. This was to like the extreme. I don't know, it kind of felt like she didn't really need anyone, and a lot of times didn't even want anyone else involved, which is like fine to center her, but I don't know, it just feels very unrealistic to have like a 20-something girl constantly being 2 steps ahead of people that are thousands of years old, and not without any help from anyone else. And it's why I actually liked the ending, because I was getting a little done with Bryce just constantly having the answer to everything. But then later they were talking about their military strategy, basically, and they were saying that the kind of like trap was Hunt's idea, which of course it was. Like, he's a general, he led a rebellion, like that's his area of expertise. So, and I think that the stuff like that is what shows that Bryce is a better leader, because she is surrounding herself and relying on people who have this knowledge instead of her just constantly having the answer. And I don't think that it takes away from her at all. So I wish that we'd kind of gotten more, from Hunt and everyone else as well, and Rune. Even Lydia, we don't see them getting involved that as much in the war, except for maybe Hunt. Like, we don't see, I don't know. I just would have liked more involvement from the rest of Bryce's crew. And her decision at the end with the Fae kind of felt the most Bryce-like than the kind of consistent perfection in the rest of the book. So like, her decision with the Fae was she became queen of all of the Fae in Midgard and then abolished the monarchy and the nobility, and it's this kind of rash decision that's obviously going to have a lot of repercussions. She's completely toppled the government and social system that they've had for thousands of years. And she'd really like to just leave it at that. She doesn't want to have to deal with it anymore, but she knows that she will. She like begrudgingly has taken on that responsibility. And it's the right decision, but it's, yeah, messy. And I think that that really fits Bryce better. And I think that it's better than her just becoming this like perfect, untouchable queen. Because I like in ACOTAR actually that, yeah, Rhys makes Feyre a high lady and she's really good at it, but she has a co-ruler and they have this inner circle that both of them rely on quite heavily to counsel them. And we weren't necessarily getting a lot of that in House of Flame and Shadow with Bryce. Everyone kept talking about how queenly she was and how she was this genius, and I feel like In some ways it was a lot of tell and not show. Like, obviously Bryce was doing a lot, so there was show as well. But I don't know. In terms of like her ability to rule an entire group of people who she doesn't really like, I liked that we got to see her kind of like accept the Fae a little bit more. And yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. And I enjoyed that conclusion. And it sets up them to be more involved in the next books as well. I did think that Tharian and Ethan's chapters were boring and unnecessary, particularly Tharian's in this one. It kind of got interesting when he married Flynn's sister. I was like, because I liked her. And Ethan, I don't know, even when he was doing stuff, I was like, this is boring. And, you know, they're the stupidest boys around. Like, they're so dumb. And I feel like it's setting up the other books to be about them, but I just don't think that she's made us invested enough in them for them to carry their own books. So I'm very curious. There are little like hints of things that will be interesting. I didn't give a crap about Sigrid and her being Prime because I knew that like obviously Ethan was going to become Prime from the beginning, and I really don't care about her being a Reaper right now, and I assume that's going to be a bigger plot point in the later books, or I don't know. I think that the Poppy stuff is kind of interesting. Perry stuff is kind of interesting. I'm excited for that, but yeah, overall, did not care about them. And I don't think that their POV chapters were necessary. I don't think that they were in House of Sky and Breath, and I did not need them in this either. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this, but it definitely wasn't my favorite in the series. I think it was decent. I'm not gonna go like to either extreme. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't amazing, but I think it was good, and I think it still held up the series. Hey guys, so since I decided not to go to second dessert, I'm just going to, yeah, finish up a little bit of work here. I'm nearly done, and then maybe read some Divine Rivals or watch something before I go to bed. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here, and I'll see you next week.